All right, so we're talking about the 7 agencies of religion. Of in the agency, Jalen, you were speaking to me a few weeks ago. Jalen just so happened to take a class where they were defining the agencies, the word agency. Jalen, do you feel comfortable to give us a synopsis quickly of how y'all were using that word agency?
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. So I'm in media industries, and we're basically studying the structures of the media industries, like different big media companies and stuff like that. And we're discussing how most of them are structured by mandates, conditions, and then practices. And so the mandates is basically whatever the goal is for the company, like the economic goal. The conditions are the regulatory conditions that the company has to work within. So, for example, if I want to do broadcast television, but there are certain regulations around like what I can show, like cursing and stuff like that, the companies can utilize their agency to move around those regulations. So basically, it's when you have set guidelines, but you still have a bit of wiggle room to kind of personalize those guidelines for yourself, if that makes sense. And so that's what agency would be. Like when you're exercising agency, you're exercising almost your free will and your ability or your creative freedom to move within a constricted space. Not constricted like it's limiting, but constricted like you have to work within these rules to be able to achieve what you want to achieve.
Thank you. Does that help everyone? Does that help add to how we're using the agencies of religion? And I'm trying to send this chat. Okay. All right. So thank you, Jalen. I was trying to. Hold on. Here we go. All right. So everyone should have that file, but if you don't have it, it's okay. All right. Thank you, Jalen, for sharing that. So just to give a quick recap of the agencies, last week we talked about sincerity. This week we're talking about prayer. Next week will be worship, study, and cooperation, fellowship, and completion. We might combine some of these to help speed up the weeks ahead because I want to end in December. I would love to end by the winter solstice. And I'm thinking about having us a winter solstice retreat if there's any volunteers who want to organize that. So the winter solstice is on a Friday. So I'm thinking about maybe having a Friday night event somewhere and it's all day Saturday type of workshop and discussion about our personal religion journey. Wouldn't that be sweet and fun? I think it would be. So the winter solstice is one of the darkest days of the year, and it's also for our human psyche the most introspective by default. We go into introspection by default. It's a very, very, very natural, organic, astrological time where we just really are going in. It is a perfect time to spend the whole day in prayer and worship because that's just the setting of the atmosphere. Even though it's around our holiday season, and normally we're all really, really, really busy, but by being really, really busy, we're missing out on one of the most natural times to go inwardly and be introspection. So if you would like to, so keep me posted on that. If you're interested in that, and maybe we get a volunteer to kind of maybe put that into place, maybe we can just find a nice venue, even if it's like at a restaurant or something. I don't know, something easy and budget friendly, but something we can all come together and be interactive with. I think that'd be really, really great to talk about. So we'll definitely look in seeing how I can, I'm going to make a calendar this week to see if we can end on the 21st. I just think that'd be really good if we can end that weekend of the winter solstice with these last weeks. Okay, so let's get started for today. I've already spent a lot of time talking about it, and it's already 10:19. So let's get into prayer. Y'all ready? Everybody all aboard? Or are you all bored?
All aboard.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So we're talking about prayer today. So prayer, I define prayer as contact, communication with the supreme reality or higher powers. All right. It has evolved from the request for material blessings or a form of well-wishing. It evolved out of this sense of our ancient ancestors who were hunter-gatherers saying, wish me luck, or some type of well-wishing. it started out and evolved into two distinct forms of communication to higher powers. One path led to magic, and one path led up to prayer. Okay. Today, our prayers are mostly a combination of magic and true prayer. We'll talk about that a little bit today. All right. It is to request for revelation of spiritual insights as solutions for the problems of living. True prayer. All right. We'll get more into that. So let's talk about prayer versus magic. So magic and prayer kind of happen simultaneously in our evolutionary ancestry history. True prayer is action by the prayee, the ego. So it's a mental and spiritual response of the individual or the person praying, where you're trying to change your mind, change your thoughts, adjust your attitude, or take some different action. Magic is an attempt to manipulate your reality and not do anything on your part. You're not trying to change your attitude. You're not trying to take any actions. You're just trying to shift your reality without any effort from either a psychological effort, energetically effort. You're not putting any part. All you're doing is trying to, again, manipulate or change your reality, but not change your ego, your consciousness, your psyche, or take any action. All right. Sometimes prayer devolves back into magic as you become more focused on material manipulation of reality. And so your prayer can have that effort of magic in it. And sometimes a magic ritual, or sometimes reciting or engaging in magic, the end goal will sometimes evolve into prayer. Because sometimes you may realize, okay, if I'm going to do this magical chant or this magical prayer to shift my reality, let me adjust my mind, or let me set this tone or do this. So sometimes magic leads to prayer, and sometimes prayer devolves into magic. And again, the difference is, one, you're changing yourself, and one, you're trying to change, you're just focusing on changing your material reality. That makes sense, everybody? The distinction between magic and prayer? Any questions, comments? Okay. The key component of true prayer is the idea of a personal and superior being. Like, prayer really involves, in order for the essence of true prayer is the idea or the basis of there is some higher power, and it's a personal higher power that you're communing with, that you're seeking to make contact with, that you're seeking to be heard. Okay. True prayer, one of the overwhelming benefits of true prayer, it truly works to prevent the isolation of an evolving human mind. The reason why this is so critical, because so many of us can testify to this in our journey. If you're a seeker, this really would make sense to you. When you are evolving in your spiritual understanding, in your intellectual evolutionary process, when you're maturing as a total complete person, one of the byproducts is isolation, because you are going to lose intellectual companionship and you'll lose people who think like you. It takes a while in between those transitions to find your tribe. We've all experienced those moments where we evolve out of one level of consciousness and we evolve out of one level of tribe, and then we're in this wilderness where we're alone in our thought, we're alone in our thinking, and we have no one who can share our worldview with. We have no one who we can commune with and have that intellectual, spiritual companionship with. And sometimes on this evolutionary journey, it creates a lot of isolation. Testify to me if you've ever experienced just the isolation of not having anyone to share your journey with, and just feel like, am I the only one here thinking like this or feeling this way? Everyone can relate to that?
Yes.
All right. So prayer is one of the biggest techniques that prevents that isolation of your mind. Not so much the emotional aspect, because you can feel people that love you and support you. You know, your mama can say, I love you so much, I just don't understand, girl, how you think. What's wrong with your mind? Right? So this is the isolation of your mind. It's nothing is so beautiful or delicious than having someone that you meet that shares the way you think, and has that same common thinking. And prayer really, really helps you do that. When you have that true effective prayer, it brings you into communion, and then you through your worship, you understand that you've been heard, and immediately you realize you experience what they call the dyadics of communication, that is two-way, and immediately you don't feel so alone in this world. And that can give you a strength, and it can give you a source to keep moving through your journey until you can find those people to come along and be like, that person speaks my language. They're from my planet. All right. And again, so prayer and magic evolved simultaneously in our evolutionary history. But the difference is magic is exclusively used to try to manipulate your surroundings. It leads to selfishness, and it leads to frustration, and it leads to an inhibition of true growth. Where prayer fosters intellectual growth, prayer fosters personal and spiritual formation. Magic inhibits growth because magic becomes more and more focused on changing your reality, changing other people, and not doing anything to change who you are or change your thoughts. And you become more and more victim to be manipulated by your external situations and circumstances and other people. And ultimately, it's going to lead to a very limiting world. Okay. Let's talk more about prayer. Genuine prayer adds to spiritual growth. Like I said, it modifies your attitude, and it adds a satisfaction of knowing I am being heard by a higher power. I'm in community with other beings and other powerful sources. And that leads to a great satisfaction. And now you are okay going at home at Thanksgiving or Christmas or the party, because you're not in need of being so much understood, because you already have that understanding from a superpower. Now, you still don't want to go be abused and ridiculed, but you're not so much depending on, I've got to find people who understand me, and getting in that disillusionment of that, because you feel like I'm understood by my higher powers, my beings love me. I was watching a video of a guy who was at one time in his life, he was against channeling. He felt like channeling was belittling, and he felt like there was no purpose in it. And when he was giving a message through another channeler that was in direct answer to his prayer, he said for the first time he felt like his heart opened up and expanded. And since that time, he's felt like he has invisible friends that truly love and get him. And it's added a quality and satisfaction to his life of knowing I am heard and I have a communion with powers that I can't see, but I have that community. And that is the beauty of that satisfaction in prayer. Another thing about genuine prayer, it is the meaningful reach. I love this definition for superhuman values. So throughout our journey of personal religion, we talk about values, superhuman values, higher values. And it is a stimulant for growth, because what you're doing in your prayers, you're saying, show me what should be my ideal, what should be my guiding principle. And that relationship with those values over time produces satisfaction. All right, let's talk about words when it comes to prayer. This is so critical. And this is something that I've learned over my lifetime, just recently, actually, within the probably last year. Words are irrelevant to prayer. Okay? Words are so irrelevant to prayer. They're auto-suggestive. And all they're doing is directing your attitude and your intention. So when you're private prayers, you're only using the words just to align your own self. Okay? It has nothing so much to do with the powers that be. There was a trend growing up, and I see it now. Growing up, people would be like, you ain't say in Jesus' name. And again, I'm laughing, not at them, just the whole context. You didn't say this. Then I remember there's another trend saying, you can't call on Jesus' name. That ain't the name he was born with. You got to say Yeshua or Yahweh or Joshua. And so there is this focus that we begin to get on how to pray. You got to say the right words. You got to say this name or this code. But again, the words to the deities, to the powers that be, are irrelevant. The words are for your benefit. They're only for your subconscious. And in group devotions, it is about saying it for the sake of the group. There's a good parable in the story of Jesus when he raised Lazarus from the dead, and he said this prayer, and it was almost like he was throwing shade on the people listening. And he says, Father, he says, I know you hear me. He says, I know you always hear me. I'm only saying this for those listening, for their sake. But anyway, raise Lazarus from the dead. And he basically was saying, I know I don't have to talk like this, but for the sake of those listening, I'm doing this for them. So when you're in group devotions, we use words just to trigger other people, to bring us on the same page. All right. Again, the powers that be, your higher power, they answer your attitude and your intention, not your words. Okay. Also, again, the difference between prayer and magic. Prayer is not a technique of escaping conflict. It's rather giving you the stimulus to face it, to grow in the face of conflict. Whatever your challenge is, whatever your hardships is, prayer is used to give you the catalyst and that stimulus to face the conflict and get through it. It is encouraged by the book of, in my source of revelation, the book of Urantia. They say, pray for values, do not pray for things. And what they mean by that is when you start praying for things, it leads to disillusionment. And how many times have you been angry or you had a conversation, someone's angry, says, I was praying for this, I never got it. I asked God for this thing and it's never come about being. When you pray for things, you're going to lead yourself, it leads to disillusionment, and it leads you to having a singular focus where you're looking for this package of this thing. When you pray for the values, what did you want to get out of your own home? I wanted to feel a sense of completion and that rest with the world. Pray for that. Pray and ask God, help me feel at home and at ease in the world versus praying for the physical house. And what I realize is when you pray for those values and you pray for those things, the law of attraction manifests based on your experience. So if you pray, Lord, help me feel at home in the world. Lord, let me feel release and at ease. And then when you get in that state of at ease and release, the law of attraction manifests your reality of always giving you things that make you feel at ease and at home in the world. Does that make sense? However it may be come to you. You may not know what type of house you really need. And also pray for growth and not so much gratification. And this is hard for me. This is the biggest struggle I have in this prayer journey, is actually saying, yes, let this thing grow me. I'm gonna tell you right now, I hate when I'm telling somebody I'm going through something, they say, well, this is going to help grow you. I want to slap and punch them in their face. Okay. I'm tired of growing. How much more growth and stretching do I need? But how many of us can testify when we look back and we feel like, man, I am so glad I am beyond that stage in my life. I'm so glad that I am over being that petty and that immature. That growth then feels so good. Like when someone is telling you their situations about this, and you're like, man, there was a time I used to take stuff personal from people. Oh, there was a time I used to be fearful of this. And then you're like, man, I'm so thankful for my growth. And then you look back like, wow, I am so glad I grew out of that and overcame that level. So there is a very, very, very good benefit of growing, even though in the moment, you don't want to do it. But if we begin to do that, all right? So today we're going to talk about how we're going to give a suggesting prayer for these things. And I am going too slow. All right. So here's the conditions for the most effective prayers according to the revealed information in the book of Urantia, which I borrowed most of this from, as well as from Edward Casey materials on prayer. It says it's best for prayers to be unselfish. Some of the most effective prayers are when you pray for other people. One thing that I've noticed when I do this, which is not consistent, when I start praying for other people, for some reason, I forget about my problems, forget about my world. It takes me out of my issues, and then once again, the law of attraction begins to work, because now I'm not thinking about my problems anymore. I'm not focusing on my problems. And then I realize, wow, something about praying for somebody else's issues makes me realize Well, I am actually, I know this may sound horrible, but it makes you thankful for things that you have that they may not have. And then that gratitude is like a buildup. This, you start being grateful for this, you start being grateful for this. And then it's this sense of knowing that you're going to help another person out. So prayers are best when they're unselfish. It's best to pray for other people. You got to have faith. Okay, you got to have faith. You got to have faith that you're talking to some higher power, that you're going to be heard. You got to have this absolute faith that when you start praying, something is going to happen. And there go our word, sincere. You got to be sincere when you pray. You got to be sincerely and courageously facing the problems in reality, and you got to be sincere with your problems. If you're not being sincere with what's really going on in your life, you're missing out on prayer, because you're not going to be able to really ask for what you really need, because you're going to be in denial. Also, your prayers got to be intelligent. So you really want to pray for wisdom to solve specific human problems. We all have studied the law of attraction. We know how important it is to be specific for what you're asking about. Same thing with your prayers. Try to be as specific as possible with the way you're communicating. So if you're communicating about your career, try to be specific and say, look, I want a career that allows me to use my gift of leadership in a way that I can make money and a way that I can serve other people. So try to be very specific for what you're praying for, or using that. Be intelligent with your prayer, and be trustful. Like, I'm teaching this class. I hate to always make it about me, but I think that's just a consequence of being a teacher. This is my top struggle. This is the demon that I am having a hard time killing or getting out of me, is that you have to be ready to get rid of any indecision. When you pray and ask your higher power to show you the plan, to show you the vision, to show you the revelation, to give you whatever you need, you got to be ready to be like, okay, that's what I'm going on. You cannot expect to ask for the answer and then be like, is this really the right thing? Is this really I should do? Or, that makes a lot of sense, but I ain't going to do it anyway. I'm still going to do what I first was going to do. That is going to interfere drastically. And it's not until a lot of times when you are willing to know whatever answer I get, I am going to do unreservingly. And I'm going to trust that this is the path for me. How many times I'll salt those prayers, prayed, God give you a word through somebody, give you that revelation in that reading, answer that prayer, and you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been praying for, and then drive away doubting it, only to come back 3 months later and that person tell you the same thing again. And so you've got to be ready to be like, okay, I'm going to act on it and trust it. Got to be trusting. All right. So Edgar Casey talked about how prayer and the chakras work together. And he said that Jesus' prayer is a formula to bring the chakras in contact with the spiritual forces of the universe. The chakras each represent an area of our everyday life and our everyday personality. Hence, when you use the prayer to bring those individual chakras into contact with the spiritual forces, basically you're spiritualizing your daily living. Okay? So today, we are going to use our own values that we know of, our own words, to use a very basic prayer from that Jesus taught his disciples. We're going to use that formula with our own words to help bring our chakras in contact with the spiritual forces of the universe. Okay? Are y'all ready? Everyone got something to write with? Got their notebook out? Before we begin, are there any questions, any comments, anything anybody want to clarify, add to about what I said, or get clarification on about prayer and the evolution of prayer and magic before we move into the worksheet? Anybody?
I think I'm able to follow everything that you said, and I feel in alignment with it. I am struggling a little bit with the magic understanding, and I don't know if that's because intrinsically I have a different definition, and so it's counterproductive to the understanding that I'm getting now.
Okay.
So, and that just may be an internal thing.
Do you mind sharing with us your definition of magic?
If I gave my definition of magic, it would be something I've never tried to before, but it would be something like that magic came before prayer.
Okay.
And so, like every time you said, because prayer if it devolves into magic, I always thought, how can prayer devolve into magic? Like it's instantly that, counter thought, like that doesn't make sense to me. But the reason it doesn't make sense to me is because my ethos is built on like the magic came first. Mm-hmm. But I understand this discussion of magic being a little bit different. And I understand why it's like ego-based and it's external based. Like that makes sense to me because I know people who see it that way, who practice it that way. But my own personal usage is it's almost like it came first.
Got it. Okay.
So, yeah. So that's the conflict. So I keep having to like, no, you're looking at it wrong and redissecting and rebuilding it.
No, I wouldn't say that to yourself. Remember, we all have our own personal value system and our personal religion.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't so much try to reconstruct what you've got.
Yeah. Okay.
Because as a spiritual teacher and a spiritual leader, the world and the people that you're going to be teaching to,
yeah,
that y'all's framework may be built upon exactly what the Spirit's been showing you. Magic is first.
Yeah.
Trust your journey.
And it's not the definition of magic that you gave that was first. Because that makes sense to me, that realm of it. That it is very external based and it's trying to change the external world. Like, so I'm with that. It's just my own little, yeah, your own little weird definition. Like, I never thought of it that way. I always thought it was like, sort of like that. But.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Thank you. Anybody else before we go into the worksheet? All right, let's jump into this worksheet. All right. Third eye is where we start. The third eye is where you start. Because the third eye controls the flow and the energy of all the other chakras. If you don't know this about the chakras, your third eye is the key chakra. All right. If you're going to be possessed by a demon and possessed by entity, they always try to get control of that third eye. That's where they put the filters at. Right. This is where people are trying to control you. Whoever controls that third eye, they control your energy, your whole energy influence. Okay. All right. So because that's where the focus is at. And then the focus creates the suggestion, the auto-suggestion, and the auto-suggestion affects all the other parts of your body. Right. So here is the attitude or intention that we're seeking to do is we're seeking to invoke the identity of our higher power for you and your fellows. Jesus' example was our Father in heaven, right? So he made it pluralistic because, again, the basis is you're praying on behalf of everyone. It's not a selfish prayer of my Father, but it's our Father. We're praying on behalf of everybody. So the key word for the third eye is you want to, at this point, invoke the name of the higher power as you understand it. For Jesus, it was Father. It was Daddy. Actually, the word was Daddy, Abba. He had, from a childhood, very much identified with the central force of the universe as a heavenly Father. To him, that was what he felt like it was. So it was his relationship was very personal as Father. For me, I'm beginning to resonate with that more so. But if I'm honest and sincere with myself, the word for me that invokes the most alignment in my understanding is central force of the universe. All right. If I'm really in truth with myself, it is the word central force in the universe. That's, for me, my brain gets that language. I don't know why it does, but I get it. There are moments where I find myself saying Daddy when I pray sometimes, but it's still like a hazy, like my ego is saying, who you saying daddy to? Like, who you saying father to? But when I say central force of the universe, it's like a complete yes. I know what I'm grasping right there. For some people, it is Mother Spirit, Mother Earth. It's, again, it has to be according to what you know you grasp. All right. So I want you to take time right now. I'm just going to give you all a few minutes. You don't have to think so deep about it, but invoke the name of your higher power. All right. All right. Can I get some examples from anybody? Please, there. You can just jump out. You don't have to wait in order. Go ahead.
Mother, Father, God.
All right. Mother, Father, God. Very beautiful. All right. Eve from Addam said Great Spirit. Christian Charles said ancestors. Ancestors is another one for me. I can get. It's something that I feel I'm truthful with when I'm saying. I struggle with as much as I believe analytically, intellectually, that the higher powers is parents to me. That's what I grew up with. And intellectually, I get it. But I do struggle on an emotional, true level. But I want so badly to truly get that mother, father, or that. And I say it a lot, but ancestor resonates with me. I think maybe it's just because of my collective consciousness. Elaine said most high or divine. All right. All right. So let's then, after we go for the third chakra, we go to our crown chakra. Our crown chakra is where we get our ideals to conceptualize. Where we get our ideas to conceptualize the high ideas and values. Our revelations of truth, our understanding of deep truth, of cosmic connections are associated here. So the intention that you're bringing in or you connect to your crown chakra is you're affirming now the understanding of what are your ancestors to you. What is the central force of the universe? What is the mother, father? Okay. What is the great spirit? Jesus, he said, I can't, hallowed be thy name means I can't comprehend what you are. And just stop right there. So this phrase, hallowed be thy name, it means you are incomprehensible. That was it. That's how he affirmed it. Okay. Sometimes for me, I say central force of the universe, the ruler of all. But here you want to express how you have conceptualized what is the thought that sits in your crown chakra, in your mind, on how you understand or comprehend the value of that name. And when I say value, meaning what role do they play? What's their title? Meaning, are they the director, CEO of the universe? Are they the giver of life? Are they the maker of heaven and earth? Are they the source of love? Are they the sources of riches? And I think Jesus is probably the most it's incomprehensible. But you want to say something. But I think there are some times where I start trying to think about the idea of like, if God is, and nothing created him, how could nothing create him? And then my brain hits like the end of his thought. Like I hit the end of my thinking. Like, how can something not be created? It's like, oops, you're reaching the maximum of your thinking. And so I think that's what, to me, that's what this idea invokes is, look, we can't even comprehend your name. Like, we can't even comprehend who you are, what you are. But you want to do it for whatever name you invoked. What do you comprehend that to mean? If it's great spirit, what is the great spirit to you? If it's ancestors, what are the value of the ancestors to you? All right, let's hear some examples. Let me hear what y'all got.
Well, that's a hard one to kind of just like on the spot. Like when I checked in, my spirit was like, who constantly blows my mind. I'm like, oh.
Okay, well, good. There you go. It's best to do it spontaneous. It is the most effective prayer spontaneous. If you got to go back and read your notes and find out something, it is not going to come from your heart.
Okay, blows my mind.
Who constantly blows my mind. I love that, Leslie. I love that. That's a great affirmation. Who constantly blows my mind. All right, let's hear some more. All right. Christian and Eve and Elaine, what do y'all got? Misha, what did you come up with for yours? And did you share your name?
I don't know.
Let it be spontaneous. If don't think about it. Ooh, Elaine's gave me chills. Elaine said her name is Most High, Divine, and she says her concept is the justice and balance of all. I put that of all in there, but the justice, balance, and all. I like that. I don't know why it gave me chills hearing that.
That's good.
That is good. Anybody else want to share? All right. Eve said overseer, God, and navigator. Great spirit. Overseer, God, and navigator. That feels good. I like that. Again, let it be spontaneous. Don't try to think about what you were taught or heard. Truly let it be. Again, just answer the question. What does that, whatever name you came up with, what does that mean to you? List it there. Okay, let's move on. All right, throat chakra. The throat chakra is our energy for self-expression of our unique identity and of our individual personality is generated here. The identity that we have is generated here. Here you want to ask for alignment of your human drives, your human value, your human personality with the aligned higher power. Because your throat chakra is the source of your uniqueness, it's your throat chakra that can get us into most trouble. All right, because the throat chakra controls the tongue, and the tongue, as we all know, creates all of our issues. Because out of our mouth, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, okay? And there's an old many proverbs always talk about man can control everything on the planet, but he can't control his tongue, all right? And that tongue causes all types of problems for us, okay? Because that's where our unique personality is expressed. Our uniqueness comes out of. So here, you want to make an ask or you want to make the request, you want to make the request to align your uniqueness, align your personality in service or align with the higher power. So this is basically another word for it is you want to create a phrase, something genuine and spontaneous as saying, use my voice, use my talent, use my personality, use me for your service or let me be a part of your work. Jesus' words was this, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. But it's basically, it's an ask and a request to take who I am, take all of my personality, take all of my skills and align it here. If you're praying for the ancestors, you're saying, ancestors, let me be an extension of you all. Let me be an extension of your grace. Let me honor you with my words, with my mouth, my tongue, my expression. But you're basically trying to align your individuality or your uniqueness of what you want, your desires, with the desires of your higher power. Or in other words, you're trying to align your values, your lower self wants with the higher wants. Or in other words, you're basically trying to give over that throat chakra. You want to say something that basically says, please take care of my throat chakra and don't let me be out here trying to like, just let this thing do its own thing. This is what I have experienced when it comes to the throat chakra. A lot of times, a lot of us has issues with speaking up, with expressing ourselves, with being heard, being seen. We have fears, we hold back. I give readings, you're not speaking enough. Sometimes you're over speaking. People say, I don't know how to hold it. What I realized for myself, the moments that I'm surrendered and I know that there is something higher importance, it makes me willing to speak because it allows me to get over my fears. Because I realize it's not about me being ridiculed. It's about me living and speaking my higher truth for the sake of another being. And sometimes that requires me to be quiet and stop talking so much. And so this alignment of the throat chakra really helps you get through fears, and it really helps you tame that mouth in, or that overexertion of yourself in. All right, can I get one example from somebody that came up with one very easy and spontaneously? Just one example before we move on. Please, somebody share.
Well, I have one. It's not really spontaneous, but it's one I've used over and over because it helps me. It kind of reminds me.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was greater is he that is in me, which reminds me, the divine within myself working through myself, and that I can fulfill his will through his greatness and his strength.
Yes, Elaine, I like your words. They all give me chills. Thank you. Well, that was Elaine speaking, right?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Again, make it smart. Don't think too hard about it. The more spontaneous it is, the better it's going to be for you. All right. All right. Hold on. Let's see who we got here. I'm going to the chat room. Okay. Eve said, can you give an example? Yes. Okay. I will give an example. So my personal one says, central force of the universe, the ruler of all, let your truth, or let your beauty be done through me and in me as it is done in the higher realms. I basically just took and just reworded, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. But I use the word beauty because for me, I grew up in that culture that was always told, don't act ugly. Don't be acting ugly up at that church. Don't be acting ugly at that school. Let me find out you've been acting ugly. Or my grandma would say, that was so ugly acting of you. So ugly, feeling ugly is a word that I'm always fearful of. I'm fearful if I say the wrong thing, it's going to be taken as ugly. When I am ridiculed, it makes me feel like I'm ugly. All right. But what I do love is when people say, oh my God, it was so beautiful. The word beautiful really inspires me. Like I want my work, I want my words, I want everything I do to be beautiful. So for me, I say, let thy beauty come through me on this earth as it is done in the higher realms. Okay. All right. Eve, was that a good example? All right. We'll keep moving. All right. Because we're going to run out of time, but it's okay. If you have to leave, you have to leave. All right. And then once we are up here, now we're going to go to our lower chakras. So for the throat chakra, for the root, we're going to skip and go to the root chakra. And that root chakra is talking about our energy for our survival and our preservation. And here you want to ask for the minimum needs for your survival. Now, Jesus used a word that said, give us this day our daily bread. Now, that could be twofold. One, you're asking for your physical needs that you need, but you're also asking for your spiritual needs. The word of God or truth or revelation was the word daily bread, or bread was being used as an analogy for the word of God or for truth or revelation. And so in essence, you're saying, give us our daily bread, give me the minimum I need to sustain myself, but also give me your truth today. I need your truth and your values today. Give me some good word. Give me some revelation. Give me some understanding. Give me some for what I need for my problems. Every day there's going to be a new issue. I hope we've evolved to that understanding that tomorrow or this next week, there's going to be new issues we got to face, right? That's just part of the journey. And what you want to ask is, whatever that issue is tomorrow, whatever the issue is next week, please make sure I have the truth, the wisdom, the value, the understanding I need to figure out how to attack that problem, to get what I need for the solution. But your daily bread is that truth, is that answer, it's that aha, it's that insight that you need, as well as your physical needs. All right. Sometimes I say, give me this day the truth I need for tomorrow. Sometimes I like to make my request for the day ahead. So I'll say, give me what I need today. Let me know what I need to, give me the truth and revelation I need for tomorrow today. As well as sometimes I'll say, just give me what I need for tomorrow today. Make sure my needs are met. One lady I was sharing this prayer with, she says, can I ask 6 months in advance? I was like, yeah. But you want to, you're reaffirming that. All right. So you, again, for that root chakra, you want to ask for your basic minimum need. That's what that root chakra is for, survival. What is the one thing that you need? And for those of us committed to our spiritual growth, we need spiritual truth and wisdom. And we need our physical needs met. But we need the wisdom to know how to get our physical needs met. That wisdom and truth will do wonders for us. Show us or give us, all right? Sacral chakra, all right? So the sacral chakra is our energy for our interpersonal exchanges, interactions. This is where self-worth is held at. So the intention here is, because the sacral chakra deals with our relationships, our interpersonal interactions, one of the energy that is the most corruptive to our interpersonal interactions is guilt and blame. Guilt and blame lead us to anger, resentment, blockages. So here, according to like the formula that Jesus gave, it's a great way to keep that orange chakra, that sacral chakra, clear from guilt and blame. Okay? So you're saying, forgive us, everyone. Again, you're asking on behalf of all people, because it's an unselfish prayer. Forgive us, everyone, our debts. Okay? And forgive us, everyone. Forgiveness happens at that root chakra level, because that's where all your that's where the energy for relationships come from. And if you have radical forgiveness coaches would teach you, if you have unforgiveness with somebody from back in your childhood, it manifests in every time anybody that wears that energy. And then that guilt and that blame, it comes out in all types of other relationships. It's like a poison that seeps over. So you want to stay clear from guilt and blame. And by doing that, you want to plead for forgiveness, and you want to stay in alignment of knowing, hey, I have not, it's a humility of saying, I know that I have not lived up into the highest values that I know for myself. I know I have not been living up to my truths. I know that I daily do not act on the truth that I know. I know I'm not doing according to the things that have been revealed to me. So please show me some mercy and forgive me. All right, all of us. And especially in regards to what you've done to other people. And then the solar plexus is the other end of that, because the solar plexus is where you assert yourself. And the solar plexus is it's usually the energy we use to abuse other people. Unfortunately, solar plexus energy, strong solar plexus energy, is where we abuse people, because that's where we have our own sense of independence, our own sense of power. And we can use it as a weapon, or we can use it as a tool for leadership, to lead others, to be bravery. to stand up for other people, or we can use it to be rude and ego. So we also want to offer, this is where we say, forgive us in comparison as we've forgiven other people. So we want to make sure that we are staying clear from our era, but we also want to make sure that solar plexus energy is also offering forgiveness to other people. Some individuals, and I go back and forth, the solar plexus and the heart chakra, they can be intertwined. So we could put the, as we forgive our debtors, we could combine that with the sacral chakra or some plea about forgiveness for ourselves and others. And we could make the heart chakra about, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that up ahead. Sorry for the confusion. All right. Is everyone all aboard? Are we moving along fine? And I know y'all want to overthink and say the right words, but I will encourage you, if you just let it come out spontaneous as we do this, you'll go back and it'll be very powerful and effective for you. All right. And I think on that sheet I gave you all, I combined the sacral and the solar, and I put the heart in a different category. All right. All right. So our heart chakra is where we are mostly tempted to put into practice what we truly, truly feel. So what happens is when you're put in a trial, when you're really put in the heat of the moment, you do not respond on what you know. You respond what's in your heart. Okay. When it comes to in the heat of the moment, as they say, you come from your heart chakra. All right. And it's your heart chakra is where you act at. And the heart chakra is also where you get everything gets stored, the resentments, the unforgiveness, the anger, the frustration, the fears that get stored there. So this is a good way for us to say, look, save us in temptation, meaning when I am being tested and tried, please, look, don't let my heart explode. Don't let that come out of me. And then also saying, deliver me if I do get into it. I do let all that stuff come out of me. If I do act in my lower self, please save me and rescue me from my own self. And the word evil is just immaturity. I define evil, and evil is best defined and best seen as just unevolved actions and immature actions. Sin is more so where you consciously know I am doing wrong. I'm intentionally doing wrong to this person, to the situation. I am intentionally approaching this the wrong way. And evil is just unconsciously, you're just immature. You're just acting out of your immaturity and you're uninvolved, or you're acting out of your ignorance. And it leads to some mistake. The sin is when you know and you just don't give a damn. Like, I know this is going to make this person cry. I know it's going to hurt them, but I don't care. I'm going to be ugly right now. That's how the my book of Urantia, my revelation says sin is. It's just when you just consciously choose, I'm gonna be ugly. I know this is ugly. But evil is more so when you are just thinking you're doing the best, you're just acting in the sense of immaturity, and it has evil and it has bad consequences, but you're not choosing to do it. Okay? All right. So my line for here is, please save me from my limitations. All right. And then after we go through the heart chakra, we go back to the throat chakra. And once again, we're reaffirming, make us perfect like yourself. And this is the Lord's Prayer taken out of the book of Urantia. So it's not the Lord's Prayer in the Bible. I borrowed this from the Lord's Prayer in the book of Urantia. And the Lord's Prayer in the book of Urantia, Jesus ends it by saying, and increasingly make us perfect like yourself. Because part of your spiritual journey is the desire for spiritual perfection. Not human perfection, but spiritual perfection. And spiritual perfection is love. Spiritual perfection is completely becoming a person surrendered and driven by love. And that's when Jesus told the disciples, be ye perfect like your Father is perfect, meaning be ye perfect in love. It's not trying to make us humanly perfect, but it's trying to perfect us in love. And then you can close out the prayer with your crown chakra context. Jesus closed his out with yours is the kingdom, the power forever. Again, you're ending with that understanding, or you're ending with your conceptualization again. Whatever you refer to your higher power, you're ending with who they are, the definition of them, and the assurance. The last line for the third eye is you're focusing on the assurance of this is going to be happening forever. Yes. All right. All right. So, was anybody able to come up with their own words for each and every one? Please, somebody be willing to share as spontaneous as you got it. We would love it for you to be bold enough to bless us. No one? Okay, all y'all are so quiet. So no one came up with any or wants to just try their best to give us a complete prayer? Leslie, you quiet on me, girl. What's happening?
No, okay. Well, because I don't have a complete prayer. And, I found this, like, it's triggering some things, like, but in love. And I find that it's not really, it started kind of overthinking, but, like, I really want to take some time and feel into this, though. Like, it seems like a real sincere conversation with my divine that I've never done. I've never structured out my prayer. And it's like, maybe there's some components that I haven't been expressing so directly. And like, when we're talking about solar plexus chakra and just in the heart chakra aspects, I was really feeling that and just like, yes, please forgive me. And so I don't know. I don't have a full one yet, but I would love to hear anybody else's.
Okay. Did anybody else able to come up with something spontaneous? Benicia? Elaine? Okay. All right. And maybe I didn't give y'all enough time. I get it. But again, I want to encourage you. Don't overthink it. Okay? Try to just let it come up like you just said. It can be as simple as that. Please forgive me. Okay? It doesn't have to be so poetic. Remember, the words are not important as much as the attitude. And it's almost like talking to a friend or talking to your parent. You just want to know what you need to say. You don't want to give it, you don't want to overthink it. You want to be very sincere and genuine. Sometimes sincere and genuine just comes as it is. Help me. Maybe you help me. Help me be more truthful. Help me be more loving. Okay? So I had a feeling intuitively that nobody was going to be able to have theirs. Sometimes in the class, I can give more time. So I have some beautiful examples, okay? So I'll get, who wants to read the first example that I have? Well, this is from, in the book of Urantia, it's titled or it's associated as a prayer from another world. It doesn't say what planet, but it says this prayer is from a planet that's not Earth. And so the third eye starts with our creative parent. All right. They define from their crown who is in the center of the universe. All right. That does nothing for my crown chakra, but I get it. It sounds beautiful, but I can't conceptualize the center of the universe. All right. Anyway, let me keep reading. The throat chakra is really extended. Okay. They go in on that throat chakra. Bestow upon us your nature and give to us your character. I love that. Make us sons and daughters of yours by grace. That's beautiful. Glorify your name through our eternal achievement. Your adjusting and controlling spirit give to live and dwell within us, that we may do your will on this sphere as angels do your bidding in light. And sphere is just a generic term for planet or globe or orb or world. So I love that. I love that line, that we may do your will on this planet as angels do your bidding in the realms of light. I love that. All right. And then at the root chakra, they say, sustain us this day in our progress of truth. sustain us this day in our progress along the path of truth. Sacral chakra is deliver us from inertia or laziness or not taking action, from evil and all our sinful transgressions. So they put that at the sacral level, which makes sense because it is at that sacral level that we get in the most, is dealing with people. Interacting with people just leads to problems. We could probably do good by ourselves. But it's when you add other people to the picture when you start messing up and doing evil. So I do get why they put that at that sacral level. The solar is be patient with us as we show loving kindness to our fellows. That totally makes sense. Because like I said, that solar plexus is that where we become more willful and selfish and stingy. Or not stingy, selfishness, and just we tend to act evil out of our solar plexus. All right. And then for their heart chakra, they use this line: shed abroad the spirit of your mercy in our creature hearts. Throat chakra, again, they go back, lead us by your own hand, step by step through the uncertain maze of life. And then at that third eye, they end it with, when our end shall come, receive into your own bosom our faithful spirits. And crown chakra, even so, not our desires, but your will be done. And they could go back and those last three could be interchangeable. But I really thought that was a beautiful prayer. Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, totally probably not from Earth. No offense to any Earth, all right? I'll read one more I thought was really good. This one said, glorious Father and Mother in one parent combined, loyal will we be to your divine nature, your own self to live again in and through us, by the gift and bestowal of your divine spirit, thus reproducing you imperfectly in this sphere, as you are perfectly and majestically shown on high. Give us day by day our sweet ministry of brotherhood, and lead us moment by moment in the pathway of loving service. Be you ever and unfailingly patient with us, even as we show forth your patience to our children, or your children, it could say. Bestow upon us your patience and loving kindness, that our charity may enfold the weak of this realm. And when our career is finished, make it an honor to your name, a pleasure to your good spirit, and a satisfaction to our soul helpers or our spirit gods. Not as we wish, our loving Father, but as you desire the eternal good of your mortal children, even so may it be. So you see, these are examples of prayers that are all about asking and requesting for higher values, aligning with the higher, helping us be selfish, and bringing a lot of these prayers have a lot to do with others. Help me be there for others. Remind me that I'm there for the weak. Change who I am so I can be of service. This is for you. This is for us. This is for the eternal plan, the bigger process in life. All right. And this will be the last one. Our all faithful source and all powerful center. Reverent and holy be the name of your all gracious Son. Your bounties and your blessings have descending upon us, thus empowering us to perform your will and execute your bidding. Give us moment by moment the sustenance of the tree of life. Refresh us day by day with the living waters of the river thereof. Step by step lead us out of darkness and into the divine light. Renew our minds by the transformations of the indwelling spirit. And when the mortal end shall finally come upon us, receive us to yourself and send us forth out into eternity. Crown us with celestial diadems of fruitful service, and we shall glorify the Father, the Son, and the Holy Influencer, even so throughout a universe without end. So these are some examples of invoking higher values, the higher powers, the higher names in a very unselfish way. All right, and y'all will all get this PowerPoint. Questions, answers, comments. Was this helpful? Do you feel like it's giving you some new insight on how to align effective prayer, more effective? Will this enhance your prayer life? Let me get some feedback from you all. All right.
It was extremely transformative for me. I was very apprehensive. Prayer is not something that I align with comfortably. Never have throughout my entire life spiritual journey. It's always been at the center of an uncomfortability with me. So it gave me a really like transformative space with that. And I received a lot of messages about it while we were going through it. And I'm surprised about all of the messages, but I feel like I'm ready to stand in them. So I feel good about it. Like, I think it was really mind blowing for me.
Good. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Anybody else? Ready? Are you feeling more prepared to create your personal prayer? Eve asked a question, said, what's the point if the words don't matter? Again, we talked about it earlier in the beginning. One of the benefits is, one, it allows you to begin to develop a relationship with a higher power. Again, the prayer is about you just feeling in your line of communion. The universe is responding to your attitude, not your words. The words are for you. The words are for you to help adjust your attitude and help you to adjust your attitude so you can receive communication, so you can receive guidance, you can receive answer and insight from your higher powers. That's the point of the words. I hope that answered your question when you ask, what's the point of words if the words don't matter? The words is for your benefit, just to adjust your frame of mind and your consciousness. All right. Any other insights? Question?
I really enjoyed this class. Like, I think it was really deep and next level. And kind of to Eve's point, I mean, I really kind of found the power of prayer just this year, but it wasn't until I learned of speaking in tongues or light languages, and I realized I could just kind of like do gibberish. Well, to me, I call it gibberish. It's a meditation technique too, but because it would be like feeling, and I could confuse my mind with all that and just be in my state. But what I'm enjoying about this is the structure and the connection. It's like, because, you know, I'll just start blah, blah, blahing, and then my feelings are just all over the place. And in a way, it's kind of in connecting to the loyalty and that reverence to my, higher all, as far as being like, I want to come, well, in the way that I see it, in my truth, I want to come to you with a certain level of respect where I have it in a certain degree of organization, and I'm not just all willy-nilly all over the place, even though, you know, they're probably like, oh, that's so cute. But just doing that that study and that work and that structure, you know. I also found it kind of curious that you were like, oh, this might seem so basic. I'm like, yeah, but those higher truths often are pretty basic, but there's so much juice in here right now. So I thank you sincerely for this. It's probably, like, you know, part of the blowing my mind. I'm just like, oh. So thank you. And thank you, everybody, for your inputs, too.
Yeah, thank you all for your input. I would love it if we could all have our personal prayer created by that winter retreat, and we can just all go around in a circle and just let each other just bestow those prayers upon us. Anybody else want to add any comments, got any more questions, want to clarify anything? All right, well, I'm going to close y'all with my personal prayer. All right. So here is the one that I wrote. All right. So I found it. I had to find it. All right. And I did this one. I updated this one back in September, but I first did it in 2016 or 2017. All right. Here we go. All right. Great Spirit, central force of the universe, who so loved us. Let this prayer bring unification to the one hearing it. Integrate their being, bring balance and beauty to their life. Give them today their critical needs for tomorrow. Make space for their era as they make space for the era that has been done against them. Keep them from conceit and heal all their fragmentation. Let them be one with you as you are one with them. Let this be known in their heart as it is understood in their mind, both now, today, and always, even after earth. Amen.
Ashe. Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is lesson 6 on prayer. I'm glad that y'all received that and benefit from it. I hope y'all will either replay this broadcast and take the PowerPoints and really, really make a concentrated time and effort to construct your personal prayer. And then give us some feedback. All right. All right. Namaste. Love you all. Yes. Christian, you can check the other lessons on my website at spiritandprogress.com. You'll see the online Sunday school and you'll see the other lessons. If you've enjoyed this class and this worksheet, I will be more than happy to receive any cash donations, Cash App or PayPal. If you want to show appreciation for the Sunday school and today's lesson and towards my ministry. And yes, you can get all the videos. You can watch the videos on YouTube and you can download the other PowerPoint lessons. All right, y'all. This was lesson 6. We'll be back next week and we'll be talking about study, worship. We're talking about worship next week. I may spend more time on prayer and worship because I don't want to oversaturate it. Meaning I have another activity where we can develop worship, but I think we may spend more time fleshing out our personal prayers. I'm going to pray about it and see how the Spirit leads me. Because the next week, the worship is another activity. So I don't want to do too much activities and we haven't finished our personal prayer activities. Does that make sense? All right. So namaste to everybody, everyone. I'm gonna give you the link to my PayPal on here on the chat. And all right, so I'll see y'all next week. All right, enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, tell me something, Phoenicia.
Okay.
We'll talk privately. All right.
It's cool. Okay. So I can tell you, it's personally, it's not about the lesson, but
Okay, let me stop
the last
recording.
time I saw
Let me stop recording, okay?
Okay.